Hey everybody, and welcome to the 19th episode of Trippin with Theobold. I'm your host, Andre Theobold. I go by AT. I go by Dre Theo. I go by Dre. And I probably have more nicknames yet to come. But without further ado, welcome to the show. Before we get started, make sure you click that like button, hit that subscribe button, do all that fun YouTube stuff, and we gonna get into it. So, for those of y'all that don't know, the show is called Trippin with Theobold because I be tripping literally and figuratively, like I literally trip in thought. I ask a lot of questions. I ask a lot of stupid questions because I don't care. I'm trying to get down to the truth. You know, and it's also called Trippin with Theobold because I grew up with a speech impediment. It's not all the way gone. I may have a hiccup here or there, and when I do, I don't believe in retakes or refilming or editing. So if I have a hiccup or whatever it is, I'll just be like, man, come on, Dre. And I just move on. You know what I'm saying? So welcome to the show. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend, subscribe. And right now, I am at 40 subscribers, 40 subs right now. I'm at my Eric Smedley number of subscribers. One thing I'm doing is, for those that don't know, I'm a Buffalo Bills fan. I've been a Bills fan since 91 season. I was 9 years old. Do the math. But Eric Smedley was a former safety for the Buffalo Bills. I think around the late, I want to say around the late 90s. Like 97, 98, 3 seasons with the Bills. So I'm at 40 subs or Eric Smedley jersey number of subscribers. You know what I'm saying? So I want to first apologize to my 40 subs that tune in to check on check on the old man. I've been away for a minute. Haven't posted a video in a while. It's been a couple weeks, maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's been more than a month. It's been a while. And I've been bullshitting. Well, not bullshitting all the time, but I had a lot of stuff kind of go on. Like I took a trip back to Buffalo to work on my grandma's house. Things at my job picked up. What else, man? Got a lot of come on, Dre. I got a lot of comedy gigs that popped up. I had a lot of shows or whatever. And I picked up a little writing gig too. So I kind of been all over the place. So, but nonetheless, I'm gonna keep plowing through this, man. I'm gonna get back to that level of consistency, man, because I want to make sure I put the truth out there, or give y'all something to watch. So now that my 2 minutes is up, now I can kind of talk the way I want to talk, because I found out through Kwame Brown's channel that YouTube got a thing in the algorithm. Come on, Dre. Damn, I'm fucking up already. But now I found out that through Kwame Brown's channel that that YouTube has a thing in the algorithm where for the first 2 minutes, if they detect any cussing or bad language, they're gonna put your video further down in the queue or not make it as available to all your listeners. So I've been keeping an eye on my clock, and I'm well above or well beyond the 2 minute mark, so I can talk this shit the way I want to talk this shit. All right. So, but before we get going, let me go ahead and promote some things. I had to check my levels out to make sure my levels are fine. So, shout out to my brother DJ As Is. This is a dope shirt right here. You go to his site, asisapparel.com. I think it's As Is Life. If you Google as is, I'm kind of loud on my vocals. Um, if you go to his site, as is apparel, or if you just Google as is life apparel, you'll see his link come up, and he has all types of dope stuff. You know, one thing, if you don't know who DJ as is he's a DJ out here in LA, and he plays those foundational funk classics. And this shirt here is Alexander O'Neal and Sherelle. You know, there's never any question, right? Because that's like a lyric in the song, right? And it's a play on words. It's a play on how Alexander O'Neal said question in his song Saturday Love. You know, there's never any question. So, dope shirt. Make sure you check out more of his apparel, more of his stuff. I'm playing around with something, right? I'm trying to look to y'all, to talk to y'all. So, yeah, I'm just trying some stuff. Come on, Dre. Damn, 3 times in less than 10 minutes, man. It's gonna be a rough show, huh? But whatever, we're gonna get through it. But now I'm trying to, mix it up. I'm trying to. Y'all let me know how it is. Do you want me to talk to you like this, or do you want me to talk to you like this? Because right now I'm looking at myself on the screen, but right now I'm looking at y'all. So I'm getting used to it. It's something new, but I think we'll figure it out eventually, right? But now, what else I want to plug? I want to plug that new Mink Slide album. That new Mink Slide. It's called I think it's called Funk on Wheels. And it's dope album, man. Tariq and the Mink Slide crew. They put together a fly little album. I don't want to say little. It's a fly album. I played that thing from start to finish multiple times. It's a good album to cruise to. You know what I mean? It has that old school feel. I can kind of sense some of the old school. I don't want to say hooks, but old school like beats or rhythms throughout some of the songs. And dope album. My favorite song on that joint is "Phone Down." I can't get that song out of my head. But yeah, man, y'all go check it out, man. It's a dope album. My only criticism of the album is this, right? Only criticism of the album is I wish it was a continuous joint where all the tracks were continuous, meaning that one track led into the next, because I feel like a lot of the tracks, they like cut off like abruptly, and then it's just the next track or the next song or the next, sketch, but regardless, man, it's a dope album. Go check it out. I think y'all would like it. So what else? So now let's go ahead and get into, the first segment of the show. That's one thing I wanted to also say too, is I have new segments that I've added throughout the show. You know what I'm saying? So, let me know how you like them. If you got any questions, put them in the comments sections or whatever. Do all that fun stuff. And yes, let's go ahead and get into it. So, but the first portion is the Say Why portion of the show, where we talk about everything speech impediment related. I want this to be the speech impediment hub of YouTube. I want people to say, hey, this dude Dre is silly, you know what I'm saying? But he be saying some shit, and I didn't know this aspect goes on in human life, or I didn't know that I'm just trying to like draw awareness to it, you know what I'm saying? So the question I have for today is does geographic regions, I hope I'm pronouncing this or saying this right, do geographic regions have an effect on speech impediments? I bet none of you guys ever thought of that before, but I have, because the thing I've realized is, like, when I'm in different parts of the country, I feel like it's harder for me to talk in other areas than others. I'm not saying that I don't talk right or whatever, but it's more of an effort. Like, I have to really, like, when I go back east, like when I'm in Buffalo, Like the shit, like it can be a challenge, But when I go to Maryland, it's like, it's not that bad, When I'm on the West Coast, it's pretty much easy peasy for most of the time. You know what I'm saying? So it will be interesting to like. I mean, no one's gonna take the time to study this, right? Because if you look at the numbers, right, I think only what is it, like 3 million people in the U.S. have some sort of speech impediment, right? And if you divide that by the total number of people in the U.S., it's like less than 1%. So no one's gonna really take the time to, do the research. But if I become a billionaire, or if I hit it big on DraftKings and hit that milli maker, and I can get these properties flipped around, and you know what I'm saying, and hustle this bread, I'll be the one that leads the effort, because I'm curious, man. Like my thing is what if like the altitude at which we're at, or what if there's like a vibrational frequency that is what if there's a vibrational frequency that we have to be at, or a certain harmonic that the human body has to be at to produce speech or whatever. And what if the altitudes or various locations or regions on the earth, produce different frequencies, or they offset those frequencies within our body, and that is what causes people to fucking, stutter and shit, or have a speech impediment or whatever, right? Or what if it doesn't cause it, but what if it makes it more probable for that to occur, See, some of y'all right now like, yo, Dre, you tripping. And I know that's why it's called Trippin with Theobold. So buckle up. You know what I mean? But that's one thing I think about, because like there's some areas where I go to, I'm like, man, it's like I'm not even trying to talk. Everything is fine. Everything's easy. But then there's some places where I go, like I said, when I go to like the East Coast, like New York or whatever, or if I go to certain areas, it's like I gotta really try hard. Like I'm like, it's an effort. Like it's tiring. Like I have to, it's just weird, Okay, that was awkward. But hey, let's get more awkward, right? So let's go ahead and get into the daily fantasy sport portion of the show, right? So we talk about everything daily fantasy sports related, because I'm trying to flip a lick, or whatever they say, right? I'm trying to catch a lick. I'm trying to hit my lick. Yeah, that's what I think the right saying is, right? I'm trying to hit my lick. So as y'all know, I play daily fantasy sports every day. I don't put up big money because I'm a cheap nigga. I like to keep my investments low. But I want to win big, and that's the beauty of daily fantasy sports, right? Is you can keep the investment low and have a shot at winning big. You just gotta be. You just have to be. Just gotta be smart about it, right? So, anywho, so I started playing FanDuel too, because FanDuel actually, the odds in FanDuel are a little better than DraftKings. Like the showdown equivalents, because so in DraftKings there's the showdown captain mode, right, where you have to pick 6 players, where one of those 6 players is a captain, and you pay double the value for the captain for 1.5 times the points, right? But in FanDuel, right, you have, it's not called showdown captain mode, but it's the same thing, but it's, instead of 6 players, it's 5 players. The captain gets 1.5 of the point values, or gets 1.5 times the points, but you pay the same, right? There's no multiplying factor to pay to get the captain, right? So what happens essentially is you have like bigger ties, right? So you're still playing. So you might put up like $5 to play for $1 million, or $5 in a pot, and the pot is over like 2 mil or something like that. and first place prize gets a mill, and then they kind of go down the tiers. But there seem to be more ties in FanDuel, like more like, so people will just break up the pot, right? So you might have like 10 people that walk away with like 50,000, or like, yeah, like maybe like 10 people that walk away with like 50,000, and then the rest of the tiers go down from there. So, um, like I said before, I've been bullshitting. Like I should have been on my neural network shit this season, but I haven't because work is picking up. Comedy and stuff is picking up. You know, um, but I'm gonna get back into it, man. I got to get back into building a neural network, and My goal is to build a neural network that produces the perfect lists for both DraftKings and FanDuel. Like, because I want to be able to just get a couple mil quick, you know, grab the bag, move on. You know, um, but um, but here's what I've been doing, right? So what I've been doing is I've been looking at the perfect lists and analyzing the perfect lists from week to week, and um, for DraftKings and FanDuel, like if you guys pay attention, there are no consecutive players from week to like. It's very hard to make the perfect lineup from on back-to-back weeks, right? And it's hard because what they do is if a player goes off, they'll jack up the value of that player um, to where the value will be so high that if they don't even get half of what they're supposed to get, or if they even get what they got last week, it's not going to be an efficient pick, So you have to. So that's one trend I'm seeing is just stay away from players that make it on back-to-back weeks, right? It's all about probability, right? Like basically, it's pretty much like less than a 1% chance that players will make the perfect list in consecutive weeks, right? And then you kind of have to go down that whole triage, right? You have to kind of say, okay, well, how about 2 weeks? How about 3 weeks, right? And there've been a couple of players, right? Like there's like I think Devontae Adams made the perfect list twice this season, maybe. I know Adam Thielen made it twice, but not on consecutive weeks, right? He made it on other weeks, but there's only been like a few repeat people, Adam Thielen, who else? Maybe Derrick Henry, but those guys are like super expensive, so you got to know when to play those players, right? So one thing I've been doing is I've been just collecting the perfect list, and I just don't pick those motherfuckers moving forward, right? So it's called process of elimination, right? That's what I've been doing. Oh yeah, Austin Eckler, that motherfucker, man, he's all over the place, man. Like Austin Eckler is dope player, beast player, man, but it's hard to pick, man, in DraftKings, because whenever you get that seed of doubt that he's not going to go off, that's when he'll just blow up, man. He'll get catches, he'll get touchdowns, he'll just do everything, but the one thing about Austin Eckler is he's very injury prone. Like he'll like tweak a hammy, or he'll do something, but then you won't know if he's going to come back to the game or not, So I struggle with Austin Eckler, man, because he's also pricey. Like he's going to be in the 7K range, but if you don't pick him, it's going to hurt, So that's kind of been my strategy moving forward. I'm also going to start doing some combinational things, right? Where I'm going to look at combinations of things in relations to the points that players have actually scored, in relation to their dollar amount, But I tried everything almost, man. I looked at whose money increased. I looked at, this shit is hard, I won some money, but I'm trying to like get the pot. I'm trying to get the bag. But what else, man? In daily fantasy sports, man. In football. So I've been doing the Monday night games and the Thursday night showdown captain mode game. I've been doing the showdown or the captain mode games. I've been doing those a lot, and I've been collecting the perfect list for those as well too. And what I've noticed, at least in FanDuel, is in FanDuel. The thing I've noticed, the trend I've noticed is um, basically you don't pick a kicker. Like it's only been one kicker that made the perfect list in FanDuel on the Monday and Thursday night games, and that was Graham Gano on the Giants. Because he kicked the hell out. I think he kicked the ball like 6 times that game and didn't miss a single kick. So that's why he was on the list. But for the most part, you had to in FanDuel you have to pick both quarterbacks and no kicker, right? And I've seen the quarterbacks make the captain spot once, I think, or twice. But that's kind of how I'm approaching it, right? I'm looking at it because when you look at the numbers, I used to do this thing. I kind of still do it, but what I do is I look at the numbers, I look at the value of the player, or I look at their salary, and then I look at the trajectory of the points they scored in the prior weeks. I'll look to see if they're increasing or if they're decreasing. Then I'll look at patterns from last season to see if they followed a certain pattern and when they popped off, what happened. And that doesn't work. So I'm just looking at I feel like I know these players so well, like from last season or from previous seasons. Like I've been tracking these players for seasons. And I feel like when I look at the list, I feel like I kind of have a feel for what the perfect list is going to look like. So I'm kind of going by a feel. I'm looking at the value. I'm looking at the dollar amount spent. This is daily fantasy sports is like it's like the online version of carnival games at the carnivals, right? Remember when they tell you to pitch that little softball into that bucket that's angled up? Well, basically it's like an optical illusion. Like the shit look easy, but when you start doing it, it's like they done fixed it to where you only have a 1% chance in getting the shit. So I'm trying to figure out that angle, that 1% chance, so I can walk away with the bag. So that's that. I'm also I'm going to be in an NBA fantasy league. My draft is next Monday, actually. And I did my first, in preparation for the draft, I did a mock draft on Yahoo. Man, NBA fantasy is going to be really tricky this year, right? Because I did a 14 team mock draft last night or yesterday, and when I looked at my roster, I was like, this shit gonna get ugly. Like it gets ugly quick in a 14 team draft because you have a lot of players. You have some players that that aren't getting the vaccine. So if they don't get the vaccine, they can't practice or play. And these are like top 10 players, right? So that's gonna throw a monkey wrench in everything. And then you have a lot of trades as well too, because I was going through man, I didn't realize certain people got traded. I didn't realize that that Valanciunas is on the Pelicans now, and that who is it? Steven Adams is on the Grizzlies now. I personally think that the Grizzlies messed up on that. Because Valanciunas, his deep so Steven Adams is a balanced player. He plays great defense and solid offense or average offense, but Valanciunas plays probably slightly below average defense, but superior offense. He can go off, So I feel like with Valanciunas, they at least knew where the points were coming from, and it was an easy feed. You just drop the ball into Valanciunas, and they put up numbers. They put up points, right? But now the Grizzlies, I think, are built more like a defensive team. So my only question is where the points going to come from. So they better be locking people down in that score bet. They better not let people get into triple digits. Because if they do, I don't think they really going. I think they're going to struggle. But that's neither here nor there. That's not my team. That's just an observation. But yeah, that NBA mock draft, man, shit gets slim fast. Like round three, I'm looking at backups. So that's how the shit go, you know. So yeah, I'm gonna do a couple more mock drafts. I'm probably gonna see if I can't do a bigger team mock draft just so I can get used to not having players. So that way, because the league I'm in now is a 12, it's a 12 team, 12 team mock draft. Yeah. So if I train and do mock drafts with 15 teams, then I'll be able to get players that I think that I wouldn't have normally been able to get in a 12 team um, league. So that's that. So there's a new segment I'm adding to the show, and the new segment that I'm adding to the show is called Work Talk, right? So I'm blowing my cover. I don't care. But I had another channel that I start. Come on, Dre. So I had another channel that I started on YouTube, and it was supposed to be like a rogue channel where I don't show my face and I disguise my voice and I say everything that I want to say about working in corporate America. But that was like I started that project like months ago, you know, and who knows, I might start it again. You never know. I mean, but I figured, you know, I'm gonna start talking about work talk here now. You know, like if I'm gonna talk some shit, I'm gonna stand on my shit. You know what I'm saying? So, a lot of things go on in corporate America, and um, I feel like a lot of people in corporate America, I feel like we eat shit every day to get a check. You know, and there needs to be some sort of outlet for people to come back and laugh at it so they can go back to work and keep eating the shit to get the check, you know? Because like I said, I have pretty harsh views on corporate America. Not harsh, I mean, they're just real. I mean, because I've been through a layoff. I've been through 2 layoffs. I got laid off once. And I saw what a company is, you know? A company is a wild animal, you know, that's trying to survive. That's all a corporation is. Like I think about a deer or whatever, right? Like basically, if a deer injures its leg, and it's out in the wild, and if the leg is getting in the way, that deer is going to try to bite its leg off. You know, it's going to try to gnaw off that injured leg so it can hobble on 3 legs. You know, and that's what companies do when it comes to layoffs, right? They gotta survive. If shit is getting in the way, they gotta go cut it loose. You know, it's nothing personal. It's just survival. You know. But I don't know. I'm trying to stay focused because I don't want to go all over. Because I can talk about corporate America for months, right? But we're gonna keep it focused. All right. Let me get a swig of water. My throat's getting a little parched. One second. There we go. So today for work talk, I want to talk about corporate snitching. All right. So when it comes to corporate snitching, everyone snitches in some way, shape, or form, but it all depends on what you snitch on, right? Like if you snitch on someone, like me personally, like if someone is not doing what they're supposed to be doing to help me out, or they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing or giving me what I need to do my job, I'm gonna snitch, but I'm not gonna snitch directly. Like I'm gonna snitch on the work. I'm not gonna I'm gonna snitch on the input to me getting my work done, not the person. You know, so for example, let's say if a person is supposed to give me 5 widgets so I can output a requirements document, right? And let's say I only have 3 widgets that came in. I'm not gonna go to my boss and say, "Hey, so and so's not giving me my widgets, so I can't do my like." Now that's whole shit. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna put an email out, and in my email, I'm going to CC my manager so they see what's going on. So when I see but I'm gonna actually direct my email to the person that's responsible for me for getting me those widgets, right? Those 5 widgets. So, but the way I word the email is key, right? I'm not going to say, hey, Joe, you were supposed to get me this by this. When are you going to get it to me? Because I can't get I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be very professional. I'm going to say, hey, Joe, see, I'm trying to backtrack. I have so many emails in my head right now, but I'm going to be like, hey, Joe, we were supposed to have the widgets in by such and such a day, so I can produce X, Y, and Z, or I can produce this requirements document. Do you know who is responsible for getting me the rest of these widgets so I can complete this task, right? It's going to be something along those lines. I mean, that's not the best example, but you get the point, right? Like, basically, I'm snitching on the work. I'm not snitching on the person. I mean, I'm indirectly snitching on the person because I'm sending the email to that person with my boss CC'd on it. But I'm also kind of playing dumb in the email. So it's like, things could have changed, like he could have handed off his task to somebody else. So get me in touch with that person so I can get what I need to get my shit done, right? That kind of snitching, I mean, you got to do that to survive, right? That you got to do that in order to get your check, or to do, you have to do that in order to hold up your end of the bargain to get your check at the end of the day, right? So, but you got some other type of snitching that goes on at work, right? And this is bitch snitching, right? And I would never use these terms at work because that's not professional, So I had a situation at a previous company where I had a supervisor who would snitch on me, right? But it wasn't for anything performance related or anything that affected his job. It was just he wanted to show that he was in control, right? So this dude was terrible, man, by the way. He's probably a nice guy outside of work, but just at work, I just couldn't work with this dude, man. Very bitch made tendencies, you know what I'm saying? Like this dude was, yeah. So the way my previous company was set up was we had all cubes, cubes like in a workspace environment. And my cube was like right in front of my manager's office, So I remember every morning when I came in, he would just like make laps around the office or around the workspace. He would just do laps. Very inefficient. Just if you're up walking around doing this shit all day, how are you getting work done? So he would just make laps, right? And the only time he would speak to me is when my manager's door was open, and I paid attention to that shit. I'm a very keen observer of bitch made behavior. So he it was funny because the first couple times he did it, I didn't get it, but then I was like, oh, okay, I get it. But basically, what happened is he basically would only say good morning to me when my boss's door was open, and that was his way of letting my boss know that I just got into work. Like he was very hourly based. He was very hour based minded, right? Like he basically was, hey, you got to come in at this time, and you got to leave by this time to get your work done to be effective. And not really. I mean, I might come in early some days. I might come in later. But if I come in late, I stay late, and if I don't stay late, he wouldn't know because he would leave before I left, right? But anyways, he'd always come in, hey, good morning, Andre. Hey, Andre, good morning. And he wouldn't stop to hear my response. It was like he was just like saying it, It wasn't like he would come through and say, hey, good morning, how was your day going? Or hey, how was yesterday? It was like he would be doing his laps around the office and just say, hey, Andre, good morning. All right. And that was his way of letting my boss know that I just got into work, right? But whenever my boss's door was shut or she wasn't there, this motherfucker would walk past my cube and not say shit. So I was like, oh, this motherfucker a hoe. I was like, man, whatever. So, right, corporate snitching, right? I mean, you can't, here's the thing, right? Like, you can't control, like, that type of behavior. You just have to, like, take heed to it and just kind of know who you're dealing with, you know? And a lot of my coworkers, a lot of people I worked with, like, they like working with me because, one, I do my job, but two, I see the bullshit, right? And I play dumb. Like, I'm the dude at work that'll smile in your face. I'll sit there quiet. I won't say shit. But, you know, when we get outside of work, and if I let you have the opportunity to hang out with me outside of work, you're going to be like, oh, he done figured this whole shit out already. That's the kind of dude I am, right? So, but yeah, but just when you're in the corporate environment, you know, be aware of that corporate snitching shit, you know, and that's why I'm so happy that that we're working from home now, you know, because I get to manage my schedule, I get to manage my work, I'm responsible for me. At the end of the day, you want me to produce X, Y, and Z, I'm going to produce X, Y, and Z, but I don't have to do it exactly on the schedule that you want me to do it. Like, yeah, there's a deadline, but I don't have to have someone stand over me. Look, I felt like when I was in, like, physically at work, I felt like a lot of my time was spent justifying or showing everyone around me that I'm working, you know? And that's energy that's taken away from the task, you know? So that's that. So, but yeah, corporate snitching, man. Like, there are levels to corporate snitching, right? Like I said before, like, you have to, at some point, you have to snitch. You have to be a snitch in corporate America. You have to, right? But it's all about how you do it and on what you do it on. You know, if you are doing it to cover your ass, then to me, that's fair game, you know? But there's a way to do it to where, you know, you're not snitching on the person, you're snitching on the tools or the input that's being given to you to help make you successful, right? But then you got bitch snitchers who just either they like things a certain way or they just don't like you or they don't really want to work with you. So they make it difficult for you, right? So you just have to, like, kind of pay attention to what type of snitching is going on and tailor your work accordingly. But the one overall theme that I have for people that work in corporate America or that have a 9 to 5, from my experience, is if you're trying to climb a ladder or if you're trying to stay indefinitely, then you've already lost the game, right? Because at some point in time, they will get rid of your ass. It's just a matter of, do you want to leave or do you want them to force you out, right? But you will get the fuck up out the pen, right? So, you know, when you climb a corporate ladder and you climbing, really you're saying, hey, I'm cool with being a slave, right? Because what's going to happen is, yeah, they're going to up your pay, but they're going to take away all your time. And you're not going to own any of your time. And if you don't own any of your time, what good is making money and not being able to enjoy yourself some bit or to some degree, you know? And then on the flip side, if you go there and you just try to make yourself comfortable and you try to just hold on indefinitely, you know, like I said, I knew people at my job, man. I knew people that, you know, would pour in 60 hours a week, man. Like, as they would say in corporate America, they were burning the midnight oil. You know, they would come in, work 60 hours a week, and anything the company wanted them to do, they did. You know, the company would be like, hey, man, we need you to go to Hyderabad, India, last minute for a week. And then they go for a week. And then while they're out there, they'd be like, nah, man, we need you to stay out there for 3 months. They would do it, you know? Or, hey, we need you to go to Israel with like a 5-hour notice, you know what I mean? And they would get on a plane, go out there and do it, right? But when it came time to cut heads, they thought that all the work they did and all the shit they did, they thought all that stuff meant something. But when they got cut, they found out that they didn't really mean shit to the company, you know? So that's why I'm all about, my motto is get the bag, build something outside of work, get the fuck out of Dodge. You know, now if things are cool and if they smooth and if you want to go and stick around, hang around, cool. But you should be trying to build something out of work, right? That's what you need to be. You need to take whatever they give you, get the bag, and use the bag to build some shit outside of work. So, you know, when they cut you, it's like no big deal, you know? So that's it for that segment of work talk. Now we're going to get into a new segment, right? We have another segment. We're going to get into some news, right? If there's some news that needs to be talked about, we are going to talk about some news. And there has been some news, right? So first off, I want to talk about Dave Chappelle's The Closer that came out, I believe it was last week. Man, Dave Chappelle is a master. That dude, man, because I'm a comedian, man, but when I look at Dave, I'm like, man, what am I doing? Like, Dave is like he's in a whole nother stratosphere with this comedy thing, man. Oh man, that whole special to me was amazing, you know. And the LGBTQ community is like mad at this dude for the most part, or I think most of, collectively speaking, the collective is mad at him for his jokes because he spent like a half hour going in on them, and it wasn't so much he was going in on them. He was talking about how they're playing a game where really, you know, it's I feel like he was talking more about the diversion I feel like he was talking about it more from the aspect of, or talking about them more from the aspect of how white supremacy is using them to kind of, you know, flip the script and play the game, right? To still enforce, you know, white supremacy. You know what I mean? So that to me was just genius, man. You know, there's one joke I didn't get in there. The one joke I didn't get, and I got to do my research. Or if you guys want to fill me in the comment section, please do. I didn't get the Space Jews joke. That kind of went over my head a little bit. You know, I'll probably Google it, look it up, research it, or whatever. But everything else to me in that whole special was funny. I felt like he was just setting you up the whole time. You know, like with the Clifford shit, like that shit was funny, man. Like I felt like Dave spoke for me, you know, and I felt like, you know, I felt like I don't know, like I was just amazed at that joint. Like I watched it at least 2 times. Probably gonna watch it a 3rd time. But I just really pay attention to how he got into certain bits. You know, like, you know, because the first time I'm just like laughing. You know, but then the second time I'm like, oh okay, I see how he got into this bit, and then how he transitioned to this bit. You know, but man, just a phenomenal special, man. He was just going in, and I feel like too. When I was watching, I feel like a lot of his talking points were along those of what Tariq had been saying, you know? So I wouldn't be surprised if Dave tunes into, you know, Tariq and listens to Tariq or whatever. I'm not saying that it was inspired by Tariq or if I'm not saying Dave got his material from there, but I'm just saying it's very interesting how the talking points were very similar. You know, but shout out to Dave, man. A lot of people I know, like I know some people that are, you know, they're like, yeah, that was wrong, and they're trying to find fault with Dave and they want to cancel him. But it's like, to me, the thing that's funny is, when other groups can laugh at themselves, and then they laugh at everyone else, it's like it's all fair game. But it's like, I feel like that community, I feel like they're a little too sensitive, man. You know, I feel like they're being a little too sensitive because I feel like they sit back and laugh at everyone else when they're getting laughed at or when they're getting joked on. But when it's on them, they want to like stand up and be like, hey, that's not right. Or, hey, you know, they want to, nah, if the shit is funny, it's funny, you know? But whatever. I mean, people got their opinions. They can say what they can say what they want, do what they want, or whatever. But I feel like this special was more than a special. I feel like it was a um I feel like it was a I feel like this special probably lifted the umbrella or lifted the weight of cancel culture a little bit, right? So people can breathe to kind of say what they want to say again, you know? Um, and hopefully, like 20 years from now, cancel culture, or fuck, hopefully next year, cancel culture's not here, because cancel culture is just, to me, is just, it's stupid. Like, I don't, it's very petty, you know? Yeah, I don't subscribe to that, you know? But anyways, nah, the closer, man, was a dope special. I'm probably gonna go back and rewatch all of his specials again just to see how things were laid out, you know. But that's one comedian that I study, you know, and I think I read somewhere it was a bio. I'm not sure if the bio is true or not, but they basically said that it basically says something along the lines that Dave Chappelle's role model growing up was Bugs Bunny, and whether if it's true or not, that shit is like, I can see that, you know, because in every instance and everything that Dave has done in his career, he's always gotten the last laugh, right? Like you never see Dave get mad. Like if you look at Bugs Bunny's the same way, right? Like Bugs Bunny, like when Bugs Bunny feels like he's about to get fucked over or people are trying to fuck over him, Bugs will just Bugs will look at the camera and give you that look like, and then go back to doing what he's doing, and then he's always going to get the last laugh, you know, and that's how Dave has been with everything. So, nah, this is a golden era of comedy, man. I think this is a, yeah, like I said, uh, dope special, funny jokes. Got to study it whether you like it or not. Um, yeah, Dave. I have no problem calling Dave the GOAT, man. I mean, those that know me know I'm a Pryor fan. I think Pryor's the GOAT, but I mean, you could go either way. Um, but I feel like both comedians were different in some aspects, right? I feel like both comedians were about, you know, social change, and they spoke about the times. Like their comedy was, or their specials. If you listen to their specials, you know what time period you're in. You know, um, uh, because like Pryor would talk about like civil rights stuff, and he talked about, you know, police brutality and stuff in his, like a lot of his jokes. You know, Dave's talking about the LGBTQ stuff right now that's going on, and how it's being flipped to punch down on black people, right? And how blacks are being used as mascots to help get tangibles for the LGBTQ community. You know what I'm saying? And that needs to be talked about, you know? But I feel like there are two different types of comedians, right? I almost feel like comparing Dave Chappelle to Richard Pryor is like comparing Barry Sanders to Walter Payton, right? Like both were great running backs. Like both were like great running backs, but they both did the shit different. You know, like Barry had no offensive front line and would juke people out, you know, and made moves, and still got yards. Where Walter Payton was a tough, gritty running back, where he would run through people and carry people, and he just had heart, you know. Where I feel like Dave Chappelle, I feel like he's more of an observational, you know, comedian. Where Richard Pryor, I feel like I feel like I feel like this. I feel like Richard Pryor is the GOAT of self-deprecating comedy, and I feel like Dave Chappelle is the GOAT of observational and conscious comedy. You know what I'm saying? Because no one went in on themselves like Richard Pryor with his like drug addiction and stuff and all that. Like Richard Pryor went in and made that shit funny. You know, he didn't make it cool. He just made it funny. You know. So anywho, I didn't mean to get off on that tangent. But yeah, the closer. I'm gonna go back and watch that special again, man. 'Cause I feel like with I'm gonna say this last thing, and I'm gonna move on. But basically, like my two favorite comedians to watch now are probably Deion Cole and Dave Chappelle. Of course I watch other comedians, but I feel like with the specials that Deion Cole and that Dave Chappelle put out, I feel like I can watch those specials over and over again because they made the shit look easy, right? Like I'm like, how did they make that shit look so easy? That's when I go back and watch it. I'm watching to see how they made that shit look effortless. But anywho, let's go on to the next segment of news. John Gruden. Oh man, yeah, John Gruden. Like yeah, he done. But here's the thing though, man. I got questions. Like I got questions. Like some questions I got are like, why did the email? So if you guys don't know what happened with John Gruden is that there's an email that came out that he was the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. He was the coach of the Oakland Raiders back in the late 90s, early 2000s, and then left, and then coached the Buccaneers, coached them to a Super Bowl in one season. Basically, it was Tony Dungy's team. Tony Dungy built that team. He just came in, took the team to the Super Bowl, got the championship, then came back, retired, worked for ESPN, was an analyst, he had his own little segment for like quarterback. It's like little quarterback specials or like little quarterback shows or whatever, where he would critique quarterbacks that were getting ready to get drafted to go to the NFL. Then he came back to coach the Raiders again. So, an email came out from 2011 that had like racial undertones to it, or was racial, and he tried to flip it around. Basically, there was it was the head of the players unions, black guy. He basically John Gruden basically said something about like he has like big rubber lips or whatever, like Michelin tires or some shit like that. And Gruden tried to say that, oh, it wasn't racial. It was he would what did he say? He said he uses that to describe people that lie or whatever. And I'm just like, if that's the case, then that motherfucker got rubber lips, man. But to me, it's like, I mean, to me that falls more on the line of like not professional, Like that's just a rookie mistake, Like here's the thing, right? All the stuff that John Gruden said in the email, I don't condone. I think it's stupid, but I mean, it's not the worst things that people can say, but it's no shit that you want on your record. But it's just, that's a rookie mistake, man. Like if you're a grown man getting emotional in the email and saying shit like that, then you don't get the game, So he deserves like what happened to him, I mean, you don't put no, I mean, like I told you before in the emails, right? When I'm in corporate America, you gotta know how to write them emails, Like when you write corporate America, if you're in corporate America, when you write emails, your emails have to be non-speculative and to the point and factual, right? So if you're putting your opinion in there and if you're getting emotional in the email, you don't get the game. I mean, that's just the way the game is, So in addition to that, John Gruden tried to go defend himself, and here's the funny shit, right? The funny shit was he tried to defend himself. Like when the first email came out, he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm not racist. I would never say those kind of things, and that, and the third, and yeah, I'm not this, and I really meant that, but I see how it could be interpreted that way." And then it was like whoever works for the NFL controlling the emails, they were like, "Oh, is that the case? Okay, boom. Here are the rest of your emails," and they put the rest of his emails out there, and you saw the misogynist stuff in there, all the stuff he was saying. So I was like, wow. whatever. But my thing is this, right? Is if you said those kind of things in your emails, that means that someone else pissed you off and they said something in their email. So I want to see all the emails, right? I'm not trying to pick sides or whatever. I want to see all the emails, man. I'm pretty sure all the people in the NFL said fucked up shit, right? So at the end of the day, Gruden came out, he apologized and said all that stuff or whatever. And I knew he was going to resign because I was like, there's no way it's just too much media heat on this. So I knew he was going to resign. But I think what it was at the end of the day, I think he was sad that he got caught. And it wasn't even caught. It was something that he had email so these emails go from 2011 to 2018, and what if there are no more emails after 2018? Like, what if, he changed, right? It just sucks that, that when you go back that far in someone's past that you can go back and get that, right? So I kind of feel, like I said, I'm not condoning what he said or I'm not agreeing with anything he said. I'm just saying, like, it just sucks that, it's like if you say something and it's like documented or recorded that it could be used against you in the future, So this to me kind of goes in the same lines of Donald Sterling, right? The former owner of the Clippers, right? Now, what I'm about to say is probably going to be unpopular, and I don't give a shit. I'm going to say what I'm going to say. The funny shit with the Donald Sterling shit to me was when I heard the tapes was, or to me, what was interesting about that Donald Sterling stuff was, what he was saying wasn't based out of hatred. It was based out of ignorance. Like, he really believed everything he was saying. And then if you go back and listen to those tapes, he didn't use derogatory names towards black people. Like, he wasn't calling them, nigga this, nigga that, or calling them monkeys or whatever and shit. He wasn't using like derogatory language. He was just, his whole thought process was just flawed, and he really believed what he was thinking. But the thing that got me with the Donald Sterling tapes was this, right? Was he was trying to fit into a bigger organization. Like, everything he was saying, it was like, hey, I'm trying to maintain what I have. I'm not trying to lose what I have. It was like, I need to fit in with the rest of the owners, right? So to me, I feel like what happened with that Donald Sterling shit was the media was like lighting this dude up. And I feel like all the owners that were in his circle or that was part of that circle, I feel like all the other owners kind of came together and they started like sweating. And they were like, yo, we got to get this dude out the paint or he going to bring us all down. So I feel like they did shit on their end to help unseat him from, being an owner, and to me, that didn't really fix anything, right? You just got one person out the paint, right? But what they should have done was, it would have been interesting, but what they should have done is they should have used Donald Sterling as a mole to try to go in and fish out the rest of the people that think that way and then get them all out the paint. You know what I'm saying? But that's why I think that was just like a circus act or whatever and shit. You know what I'm saying? But that's just me. That's just my opinion on shit. So my thing is with the John Gruden shit is everyone is the league is making it seem like they're innocent and this dude was this way the whole time. So we just had to get him out the paint, But I feel like there's a lot of people in the NFL that are like that say shit that's fucked up, And not just that, but he said these things when he was with ESPN, So people in ESPN know how this motherfucker was, right? So they knew how he was because ESPN put an article out, right? ESPN put an article out about John Gruden and they said, oh, the NFL knew this is how he was and he shouldn't be the only one who gets fired or whatever or gets punished. All those who enabled him need to also be punished or some shit like that, right? And to me, I'm like, wait a minute. He said them comments on ESPN. So ESPN. It's funny how ESPN is pointing the finger at the NFL when really they need to be pointing them at themselves because they know that they probably had some dirt on the shit. So ESPN, NFL, all the motherfuckers is corrupt as far as I'm concerned. But whatever. Like I don't feel sorry for Gruden. I mean, I just don't because um at the end of the day, it's like you gotta be smart. Like if you get paid by somebody else, you gotta know what their rules are, and you also have to know the infrastructure, or you have to know, um, you have to be able to have your pulse on the environment of society, right? So we live in a very fickle society, like very few organizations are about like very few organizations have morals, right? Their only morals are money and and popular opinion, right? Or the public's opinion on shit, right? Um, like there's been no organization that has really taken a stance on something that was unpopular. Every stance that a corporation takes or a company takes, it's always with the popular opinion of the media so they can keep getting that money, you know? So with John Gruden knowing that and being in that kind of environment, you gotta know that, you may feel a certain type of way, but you gotta know like what you can and can't put on file for record, So to be a grown man, because he's in his 50s, I think. So to be a grown man and to like not know that, I mean, you don't get the game, But at the end of the day, he has like millions still, so he can still chill out, play golf, do what he wants. I mean, he wins at the end of the day. But his legacy is definitely tarnished. Um, Next, I want to get into this whole Kyrie thing, right? Other news, right? So Kyrie Irving is refusing to get the jab, you know, and like I said, I'm pro-choice when it comes to getting the jab. Um, I feel like if I feel like so me, I personally I got the jab. You know what I'm saying? Um, I feel like I got suckered into it, but I got the jab nonetheless. Um, but my thing is if you got the jab, then you shouldn't worry about your safety from other people, right? Because if that's the case, then you don't know how the jab really works, and you don't know what's really going on, or based upon what they're telling you, you don't know how the jab works. So um, so I personally think that Kyrie's going to retire for like a year or two, you know, until this jab shit gets figured out, or until they loosen the restraints on getting the jab or whatever. But the thing that to me sucks is how the media is demonizing him for his personal choice. So Kyrie is set. Like he has a lot of business deals that he made, and he's been good with his money. Kyrie set. You know what I'm saying? So to me right now, it isn't a money issue with Kyrie. It's you're not gonna tell me what the fuck to do with my body issue. That's what it's about. So, and Kyrie can afford to do that. You know what I'm saying? So what sucks is how the media is trying to make this dude seem selfish, or seem like uh, it's all goes back to what parents used to tell kids back in the day, right? Remember when we had peer pressure? I said peer pressure back in the day. Remember when parents would be like, "Hey, well, if 99 people go jump off the bridge, are you gonna go jump off with them?" And they would hold you accountable to that. It's the same shit with this jab. You know what I'm saying? If everyone else is gonna get this jab, but you don't want to get this jab, no, I mean he's his own person. You know, and I haven't seen one person in the media say, "Hey, Kyrie, he's refusing to get the jab. He knows what's at stake. He knows what he's giving up. I respect his decision and just move on." Right? Nah, it's like they going in, like they're trying to like demonize this dude, man. Like of all people, like you got Stephen A. Smith, man. like I used to like Stephen A. Smith back like in the day when he was a beat writer for Philly. And even when he started to kind of come up a little bit, I still like Stephen A. But now I'm not a fan. I just yeah, he's at the end of the day, Stephen A. Smith is very coonish in nature. You know what I'm saying? And I don't even like to say coonish. That motherfucker, like the way he's acting like a coon. You know what I'm saying? And the reason I say that is because right. We have to first look at the definition of a coon, right? A coon is a person who basically a coon is a person who hurts their race of people, who hurts people that look like them, in order to elevate themselves within the dominant society. That's a coon, right? So there's two types of coons in society, right? There's the boastful coon and there's the bashful coon, right? The boastful coon is like think about the movie Life with the dude that played the gun line dude, right? Basically, he's trying to keep all the blacks in line so he can raise up his status within the eyes of the master. You know what I'm saying? Or of the dominant person that runs the whole system. You know, and then the bashful coon is the coon that turns his head away while or is the get my thoughts mixed up. I didn't stutter and shit. I'm just thinking real quick right now. But the bashful coon is the coon that turns away, right? That turns a blind eye, away from his own people in order to maintain or elevate his status within the dominant society, right? So Stephen A is a boastful coon, right? He's ripping so Kyrie's doing nothing illegal. He's not breaking any law. He just said, for my own purposes, I don't believe in getting that. I don't believe in getting the jab. You know what I'm saying? And the way Stephen A was just talking about his dude, man, he was like, Kyrie is going to be Kyrie, and he is going to be selfish, and blah, 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 and they made the wrongest. Man, shut the fuck up, man. You know what I'm saying? Don't nobody want, yo. And then he's going to turn around and say, well, if I had $40 million on the line, you know what I would do. Right? That's coon talk. You know what I'm saying? And to me, coons need to be called out, man. If you're going to shit on someone that looks like you because they don't agree with you or look like you, or if they don't agree with what you agree with, to elevate yourself with the people that cut your check, you a fucking coon. You need to be called out. You know what I'm saying? So, end of the day, man, shout out to Kyrie, man. Kyrie is like, look, y'all not gonna make me take this jab. I'm not gonna do it, and I'm willing to pay the price. So it's not like he's saying, oh, I don't want to get the jab, and I want to play, and he's making us think about it. He just said, I'm not gonna get it. End of discussion. You don't hear Kyrie, mouthing off in the media and complaining about how it's not fair. He just says, I'm not doing it. You know what I'm saying? So I can respect that. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, man, enough of this coon talk, jab talk shit. Man, I've been talking for a minute. Got a lot to say, huh? I'm gonna skip the symbology part of the show. Because typically I talk about simp shit, right? Or all things simp related. But I'm gonna skip this part. I'm gonna skip that part of the show because it's not what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not gonna say it's not relevant, but basically there's more things that I need to talk about. So I'll just cover that next time. But let's go ahead and get into the comedy bump portion of the show. You know what I'm saying? So this is more of a life lesson bump, right? This isn't really a comedy story, but it relates to comedy. You know what I'm saying? So I remember I tried walking onto the football team. And by the way, before I get started in the story, hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, tell a friend to tell a friend. Kermit the Frog, the comment section up, do all that fun shit. But yeah, let's get into it. So the comedy bump, right? So, I tried to walk onto a football team when I was in college. A D1 football team at that matter. My football team at that time was in the Big East, and the Big East consisted of the University of Miami, known as the U. It consisted of West Virginia, Virginia Tech, Syracuse, Rutgers. Who else was in our shit? Who else was? I think. Who else was in the Big East then? Pitt. Those are the teams. Those are all the teams I can really remember right now. But I mean, we had players that came out during my era that were like NFL legends. Man, you had shit. Michael Vick played against my school during that era. Shit, Willis McGahee, Clinton Portis, Roscoe Parrish, Ray Lewis. Who else played against us in the Big East back then? Larry Fitzgerald, Ray Rice, Pat White. People don't know Pat White. Pat White was a quarterback at West Virginia back then, but he was nice in college, but he didn't materialize, or he probably didn't get a shot in the NFL like that. But oh yeah, I forgot Boston College was in our shit, so it was a competitive football. So I'm trying to walk on the football team with a team that plays against those kind of caliber of players, right? But what happened during my time was I walked on, and I was on the team for like a year. You know, like I was doing like the spring drills. I was working out. I was lifting. I was in pads. I made one scrimmage, but I didn't get in. But I never dressed for a game. None of that shit, right? But the situation or the bump that I had back then was I sat on the sidelines, you know, in the rain, in the heat, in the sleet, in the snow. You know, I did all this work, and I'm sitting outside like waiting for my chance, waiting for my opportunity. When is it gonna be me? You know? And I would go home, I would study my playbook, you know, I would go over the plays, you know, in the film room. I was a beast in the film room. I could call out the coverages. I knew all the hot routes. I knew I just yeah. So anyways, time went on, and I just sat outside. And so outside of practice, I would go do my drills or whatever, and I'd work out. But on the sidelines, my mental space was, I was just like, when is it gonna be my turn? When is it gonna be my turn? When, like I was just getting frustrated, right? And then lo and behold, my opportunity came to get in on a play, right, in practice, because all of the other receivers at the time didn't know the play. Like they were just fucking up the play, you know. And I had a reputation of being called Coach Andre, because when I was in the locker room or in the film room, I knew all the answers to the questions. I'm just like, oh, this is this kind of coverage. Oh, well, nah, what's gonna happen is, nah, it's a disguise cover too, because look at the safety rotating. Like I knew, like I'm looking at all the plays, and I knew how to break that shit down, right? So, but on the field, I'm trying to get in. I'm like, when am I gonna get my chance, right? So finally, all the players are fucking up the play, and then the coach, the offensive coordinator at the time, like basically calls out our position coach, and he's like, God damn it, do you have anybody on your fucking team that knows the fucking plays? Give me somebody, right? So, my coach at the time was like, he's like, Coach Andre, get in there. So I'm like, oh shit. So I get in there, and the QB at the time was dude named Frost, and he called the play, but he said that shit fast as shit, and I'm like, huh, what? Huh? I'm like, he was like, yeah, okay, yeah, break. He said, just stand there. So I go line up, and then when the ball is snapped, I don't know if it's a pass play, I don't know if it's a run play, I don't know if I'm supposed to be blocking. I don't know the route. Because if it's a pass play, you got to know the route that you got to run. If it's a run play, you got to know if you may run a route or you may have to block, right? So I didn't know. I'm sitting up there just lost, right? So I get out there and I do some little hokey pokey shit. Like I kind of like do some shit, and I'm like, yeah, let me just lay low this play, and then next time I get in the huddle, I'm gonna listen more intently, and I'm gonna get the chance, right? So right when the play was over, the offensive coordinator just chews me out, man. He's like, what the fuck are you doing? Get the fuck off my field. And I'm like, oh shit, all right. So, but then that happened, and then a few weeks afterwards, I get cut. You know what I'm saying? So the reason I bring this story up is because there's a valuable lesson that I learned from this whole thing. And the whole thing I learned is whenever you think you're ready, you're not ready. You know what I'm saying? So whenever you get to the point where you're sitting on the sidelines and you're just waiting for your opportunity and you're just brewing and stewing over not getting in or not getting your opportunity, there's probably some other shit you need to be doing. So when you do get the opportunity, you get up there and you rock that shit out. You know what I'm saying? So this relates to comedy because I'm kind of in that situation now where I do open mics. I go to open mics. I get booked on shows. People know I'm funny, you know. But it's like I'm trying to make that jump into the next circle of like or that next tier where I'm on shows with big name people. You know what I'm saying? And I'm hanging around and people know my face. They know who I am. They think I might be funny, but they don't really know. You know, I can kind of tell. I can kind of read people. They're like, oh, he might be funny, but he might not be. We don't know. But he's cool. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like I'm like for a quick second, I kind of had that mindset of, man, when is it going to be my turn? When is it going to be my turn? You know? And I had to pull myself back and be like, Dre, man, what else are you not doing? Because once you get that shot, nigga, that's it. You know what I'm saying? So, that's kind of where I'm at right now. So hopefully, you know, when my break comes, it isn't a bump, but it's a takeoff, you know, to other or to new heights, you know. So, yeah, so if you stay ready, you don't got to get ready. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole motto, right? So I just got to make sure I stay ready and then and that's like one of the 48 laws of power, right? Like you have to be able to analyze. I forgot the law, but basically the law is you have to be able to analyze everything that can go wrong when you get your moment. And then you have to be ready for it, right? So I'm analyzing like what can go wrong during, like if I go to a show or if I get the opportunity to get up on the big stage or whatever, you know, what can go wrong? Like I can be heckled. Do I have all my heckle jokes lined up? Am I loose? Am I fluid, you know, in thought, you know? What else could go, like things that can go wrong? I could get heckled, right? People could talk during my set. I might not even be able to get to my jokes, you know? They might cut my time in half, you know? Or there might be another comedian that's a way bigger name comic that they come in and they cut my shit off, right? I may have to follow a monster. I may have to follow a beast. Like there's a lot of shit that can happen, right? And, you know, I may have to tailor up my set. I may have to change the jokes that I do. I may have to change the order of the jokes that I do. Like, you know, so that's just the tip of the iceberg. But that's how I'm thinking right now. I'm thinking what can go wrong, right? You always got to be thinking what can go wrong and how am I going to defend myself against that, you know? Like, I mean, I think that there's a balance, right? You have to think, you know, like, yeah, you want to be positive. Like, you want to be positive in your ability and your ability to seize the moment. But at the same token, you also don't want to get caught with your drawers down. Because if you get caught with your drawers down, nigga, that's it. You know what I'm saying? So, that's today's comedy bump. So, what's up next for me? What's up next? I got 3 shows coming up. On this Saturday, on the 16th, I got the Secret Comedy Show. It's a virtual Zoom comedy show on the 16th. I think it starts at 7 o'clock p.m. Go to my Instagram. All my info or for the show is on there. I forgot. My Instagram handle is AT is where it's at. It's down here. You can see it down below, or you've seen it down below throughout this whole show. But yeah, AT is where it's at on all forms of social media. So follow me. But yeah, I got the secret Zoom show on the 16th at 7:00 p.m. It's a virtual show, Zoom show. Check that out. On the 26th, I might have a show at this other venue. I'm waiting to hear back from the promoter. They said there were some things going on with the venue and the promoter. The show might not happen, but when I do, it will be up on all forms of social media. So just keep an eye out for that. And then on November 7th, I am doing a show out in it's not in NoHo. This is in LA, but that's also going to be on my social media stuff. So make sure you follow me. You'll see all the ads and the flyers for all the shows that I'm going to be on. Once again, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Kermit the Frog, the comment section up with questions. I want to hear your thoughts. Tell a friend to tell a friend, and follow me on all forms of social media. AT is where it's at. But with that being said, that's it. I'm out of here. Peace.